Hello everyone, welcome to my presentation of Chapter 8, the Multisensory Principles. So this chapter gives an overview of the multisensory interplay between vision, hearing, smelling, touching, and tasting, and its importance in sensory marketing, especially the characteristics of multisensory interplay, its role in purchase and consumption processes, as well as the significance of multisensory experiences for individuals will be analyzed and discussed in this chapter. Moving on to the first part, the human senses in the collaboration. We experience the world and the brands through our five sense, sight, sound, smell, touch, and taste. For example, reading this slide uses your eyes, showing how vision help us understand things around us. But our senses don't just work outside; we also use them inside our mind. Imagine how coffee tastes or how relaxing music sound. Most people visualize or mentally touch things, while smell and taste are less common in imagination. Our brain processes all sensory info to create meaningful experiences. This is the key in marketing, where brands aim to engage multiple senses to leave a strong impression. Take a BMW as an example. You walk into the showroom and you smell the new cars, hear the new music, see videos, and even feel a gentle breeze. This multisensory approach makes the brand unforgettable. And some people experience synesthesia, where sense mix like seeing sound or tasting words, showing how closely connected our senses are. In the end, the more senses brand engaged, the deeper the experience, helping us make the better choice and feel more connected. So, what is sensory integration? It is how our brain combines information from all senses like vision, sound, smell, touch, and taste to create a complete picture of the world. Then a stimulus reaches our sensory organs, biochemical and neurologically processes in the brain turn it into a sensation. For example, seeing red roses isn't just about light hitting our eyes, it's our brain interpreting that signal as I see red rose. This process helps us make sense of our environment and respond effectively. It's not only the classic five senses involved, it balances the vestibular senses and the body movement awareness, which is the proprioception, also play vital roles. Together, these inputs also play um, allow us to move, to interact, to understand what is around us, and to be customers of service and product merchandising. In virtual or digital environment, adding more sensory input like sound, sign, smell, and touch can increase how present we feel, making experiences more memorable and vivid. From an evolutionary view, senses developed to help humans survive. Smell and taste help identify safe food, while vision and hearing help us navigate space and detect danger. Fine motor skills such as hand-eye coordination would grow alongside these senses, essential for making tools um, like and clothings and furniture and picking those. And the interaction of vision and sound is also very interesting. You see, one of the strongest sensory partnership is between vision and sound. While vision provides precise spatial information because light hit the retina directly, right? Sound can sometimes give less reliable clues about where things are. When combined, these senses help us create clearer understanding of our surroundings. For example, seeing someone and hearing their voices at the same time let our brain figure out exactly what they are. Our brain is smart. It processes visual and auditory information indifferently in time and matches them seamlessly so we experience them as one event. This helps in everything from conversation to navigation crowded place. And the hand-eye coordination about the vision and touch working together. So touch and vision team up through hand-eye coordination, and our eyes would give us a visual snapshot, but our hands can freely explore and feel objects. Without this interaction, we couldn't accurately perceive or manipulate what we're looking at. For example, when you're picking up a coffee cup, your eyes guide your hand to it, and your touch confirms its shape, its temperature, its texture. This collaboration between the senses let us fully experience and understand the object around us. Now, moving on to the multisensory phenomenon. Multisensory perception is how our brain combines information from multiple senses like sight, sound, smell, touch, and talks and taste to create a rich experience. Everyone experiences this differently based on their preferences, and when senses work together, the brain processes these signals through emotional and cognitive pathway, shaping how we perceive brands, product, and service. Research shows vision and touch play the biggest role in the product evaluation. Touch often guides decision, while vision would help judge size and shape. Other senses like sound and smell also influence perception by interacting in the brain. In short, our senses collaborate to help us quickly recognize and respond to the world, making multi-sensory marketing a powerful tool for engaging customers. Now, about the optimal stimulation theory, people would seek for a comfortable level of sensory stimulation in service environment. Too little stimulation leads them to look for something more interesting, but too much would cause them a sensory overload, making them avoid or reduce shopping. So, study found out that background music would increase impulse purchase, the ambient sound, while the lemon scent, citrus scent would encourage planned purchase. However, when both stimuli were combined, spending dropped significantly, like because of the mix felt overwhelming, like it's too much or out of place for shopper. Now, moving on to the service environment as multi-sensory interaction. So, atmospheric stimuli like sight, sound, smell, texture, and taste would shape how people think, feel, and behave in stores, restaurants, and malls. These sensory elements work together to create a holistic experience rather than a separate effect. So, study shows that when music and scent match well, they boost customer enjoyment and positive feeling toward the store. For example, slow music paired with a pleasant lavender scent make the shopper's rate store higher. And in another experiment, the combination of upbeat or background music with vanilla scent increased customer joy, excitement, and time spent when shopping. The right mix of sensory cues not only enhances the emotion but also encourages shoppers to stay longer and spend more. About the congruent auditory and olfactory cues, research shows that multisensory interaction work best when the sensory cues match or are congruent. For example, playing Christmas music together with a matching holiday scent let shopper to feel more joy, have positive attitude, and show stronger intentions to visit a store. So when the scent was paired with unrelated music, shopper would respond less positively. So in a visual focused store like IKEA, adding congruent sound and scent boosted shopper emotions and purchase behavior. Shoppers would stay 51% longer in department with matching music, and introducing scent with an otherwise scentless store improved the overall experience. In contrast, adding new visual element would alone would have a little effect. And the key takeaway is that the retailers should combine dominant visuals settings with complementary auditory and olfactory cues to create a richer and more enjoyable multi-sensory shopping experience. And about seeing, smelling, touching interaction, in the IKEA class department test how changing visual and scent cues affected shopper behavior for their customers. The space was made for inviting the dimming light, adding colored mat and wine classes, and introducing a light vanilla scent. Results showed shoppers in the enhanced atmosphere spend more time at the display, both looking and touching the glasses. Those who touched the glasses longer were more likely to buy them. And sales of the wine class, especially higher end ones, increased up by 201 to more than 200% compared to the control group. This study concluded that combining visual and olfactory cues boosts both touch behavior and purchases, though it is unclear which specific stimulus has the bigger effect in this collaboration. And moving on to the brand and product as multi-sensory experience, people perceive brands and product through multiple senses, like how they look, how they sound, how they smell, feel, or taste. For visible items like clothing or electronics, these sensory cues are easy to experience directly. For products like food or skincare, packaging plays a key role in communicating the brand and shaping consumer perception since the actual products is often sealed, and packaging influences perception through color, design, shape, texture, and sound. For example, the crinkle of packaging of the pop of the wine cork can create emotional connection and affect how people view the product quality. These sensory cues contribute to overall brand experience. Moving on to product evaluation first. When evaluate a product, vision and touch are the most dominant senses. Seeing a product set expectation for how it will feel, and then the visual tactile cues math, consumers feel more confident in their evaluation by that. If the look and the feel don't align, shoppers would tend to spend explore the product more carefully, which can increase the interest and attachment. Tactile information often have the strongest impact, but it is enhanced by visual input, improving the overall assessment. Understanding how consumers use multiple senses, like the five senses together, would help marketers to design better product and brand that resonate with buyers. And a study examined how vision and touch together would influence product evaluation, attitude, and purchase intention. Participants in that study evaluate tissue paper in three ways: only visually, only by touch, like without seeing, and by using both senses simultaneously. Research showed that the tactile evaluation was stronger than the visual alone and led to more positive brand attitude. When both senses were combined, participants have even more positive attitude and greater intention to buy. The key takeaway is that being able to touch a product significantly improves how people feel about the brand and their likelihood to purchase it. Now, about the multiple sensory stimuli, people experiences of brands and product often depend on how different senses interact. For example, a study showed that smell and touch together affect perception. Women preferred smooth paper, while men preferred rough, highlighting how scent and texture combine for a better tactile experience. And sensory input influence each other. The sounds of chewing potato chip would affect how crisp they seems to us, and the color of orange juice can change taste perception, with visual cues often outweighing the actual flavor. Words on packaging don't impact taste perception as much as color do. And in tests with products which is in sensory element like chocolate, perfume, beer, or music, people would tend to test them by prefer the first sample if sensory stimuli are similar due to the sensory habituation. However, when different sensory cues are involved, the last sample is preferred, explained by the sensory slowdown. A multisensory brand experience occurs when two or more of the five senses interact, influencing an individual cognition, emotion, and behavior during purchase and consumption. So, although early work highlight the atmospheric stimulus role, sensory aspect would gain renewed attention in recent decades. Now, moving on to the physical service environment. In places like boutiques, hotel, restaurant, and malls, the overall atmosphere shaped by sensory stimuli deeply affect the customer experience. Vision is often dominant through design, lighting, and logo, but sound, smell, touch, and taste also play crucial role. The studies found out that touch, like humidity, softness, temperature, and vision, how cleanliness, good color, layout would significantly boost enjoyment, while hearing affect behavior but less so emotion. A balanced sensory environment is essential as overstimulation can cause negative effects. And in tourism, the sensory experience is vital. Research emphasizes the role of sensory landscape, which is visual, auditory, olfactory, tactile, and gustatory, which is the tastscape, in shaping tourist experience holistically. Visual stimuli were rated most important, followed by sound, taste, smell, and touch. Combined, these senses create a rich multi-sensory brand experience. For example, you can see the casino provide a vivid example of multi-sensory brand experience. For vision, it is brightly lit, colorfully slot machines and decoration. And the sound, there is a ding ding jackpot sounds and coins clanking, lively background noises, and often smoky but managed by air filtration. Food aromas in restaurant, and the taste is a high quality restaurant inside it. And the physical interaction with gaming machine, surfaces, and the tactile feel of casino chips. These combinations of sensory cues engage customer deeply, reinforcing brand identity and encouraging spending. For the online service environment, online retail should mimic physical store atmosphere by offering multi-sensory congruent cues where stimuli share meaning or match attribute to create immersive sensory experience across vision and the other senses. Moving on to brand and product. So, new brand and product should engage as many senses as possible to influence cognition and motion. Multisensory approaches in advertising and branding complement vision with other senses, supported by cognitive neuroscience insight. Sensory input from one sense can alter perception in other. For example, fragrance will affect how white clothes appear, and sounds influence how fabric feels. Brand use sounds both functionally and as unique signature to differentiate themselves. For instance, the sound of ice cream cracking affects taste enjoyment, while premium car brand design engine and door sound for richer experience. So, multisensory stimulation enhances brand experience and equity, boosting purchase intention. For restaurant, concurrent decor, scent, lighting, music, and temperature create memorable experience. And despite this importance, multisensory branding is underexplored in marketing research. It's not explored enough. So, a research by Chris Sna highlights vast opportunity in studying how sensory interactions influence cognition, emotion, and buying behaviors. And that is also the end of my presentation. Thank you for listening. And this is my analysis of the case study about Kia Moto. From the individual perspective, the sensory of Kia create a memorable, trustworthy, and emotionally engaging brand experience beyond just visual appeal. And culturally, sensory branding can have mixed effect. In some culture, rich sensory experience may be highly valued, while in others, specific smells of sounds might be disliked or misunderstood, which could affect the brand image positively or negatively depending on the market. And this case study point out clearly why this field needs to be studied more. And that is officially the end of my presentation. Thank you for listening.